Welcome back to another one of the 12 pillars of building a world-class life. And in today's pillar, we're going to be looking at the keys to lasting change. Now, I can see your face already. The minute you hear the word change, we kind of get a little bit uncomfortable and we resist change. And it's like that for most of us. It's like that for me as well. Because change means that I'm going to have to do something different. I'm used to the way I'm doing things. I'm comfortable with the way I'm doing things. I'm familiar with the way I'm doing things. I'm familiar with the way things are. I feel safe in this space. And change means that that has to change. And so it's perfectly normal that we resist change. But guys, I need you to understand this. If you're not happy with the current situation or with the current status quo or with the current results that you have in your life, be that in any area, be it in your health, be it with relationships or friendships or your position at work or your financial situation or the situation with your business at the moment. If you're not happy with the result and the current status, you have to change something. You cannot keep doing the same stuff and expect a different result. I mean, you guys have heard that a million times, those quotes. And so when we talk about change, it's important to understand that my actions, the stuff I did yesterday and the day before and the days before that, those actions, those things that I did produced the results, the stuff that I have in my life at the moment. So I've got to go back or go forward, and I've got to change those actions. I've got to do different things tomorrow than what I did today to produce a different result. But looking at your actions and just changing your actions is not that easy. We've got to understand where those actions come from. We've got to understand why we do the things we do. And to understand why we do the things we do, we've really got to take it back to the beginning. So where's the beginning? Let's look at it. The results you have in your life were caused by the actions you took. The actions you took were driven or caused, or you were stimulated to take the action by an emotion. So there's an emotion that drives an action that gives you a result. But where do the emotions come from? So the emotions come from thoughts. So a thought pops into my mind. The thought causes an emotion to happen. The emotion causes an action. The action and a result. But let's take it one step further. Where do the thoughts come from? So the thoughts come from triggers. So there's a trigger, something happens, you experience something, feel, see, hear, taste, smell, gut feeling. That's a trigger. Something gets triggered in that sense. Immediately your brain takes that trigger. It cross-references it with everything you've ever heard, you've ever been taught, and you've ever experienced. It cross-references that trigger, that thing, with that which we call your belief system. And that forms a thought. So a thought now pops into your mind, the thought drives an emotion, the emotion an action, and the action produces a result. So if I'm wanting to change things, I've got to really go right back to the beginning. I've got to look at my belief system. I've got to try and understand where that belief system comes from. And then I've got to think of changing that belief system. You guys might have heard there's a scripture. The scripture says, it's the truth that sets you free. So your belief system is your truth. The stuff you believe based on whatever it is that comes from whenever your childhood, what you've been taught, experience, all that kind of stuff, that's your belief system. That's the stuff you believe. So that is your truth. And if that truth is not producing the right result for you, we've got to go back and question that truth. We've got to create a new truth, a truth that will set you free from the current outcome. Okay, and so we got to look at changing your belief system. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. We do that in our coaching programs, and we take you through that whole process. But I want to simplify things for today. And I'm going to give you some tools that you can work on moving forward to be able to change or produce lasting change a lot quicker. So let's look at that. So lasting change, and to understand why we do things, there's triggers, there's actions, and there's rewards or results. So there's certain things that there's a trigger that happens that causes an action, and the action produces a result. And I explained the whole thing. So I want you to think about what triggers are causing you to take action or causing the actions in your life that are producing the wrong results. And I want you to go back and manipulate those triggers and change the triggers. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say you are not happy with your health situation. And I'm using this example because that's the fact for me. I would like to be a little bit fitter and a little bit more healthy in terms of my fitness levels. So I decided that I'm going to start going to gym. I'm going to start exercising in the morning. And that obviously will produce a different result because I'm not happy with the current results. So I can't keep doing the stuff I did yesterday. So let's look at the triggers. So I set my alarm clock to wake up early in the morning. So my alarm clock goes off at 5:15 in the morning. And there's a trigger. So the trigger is I pick up my phone, and on my phone, as soon as the alarm clock goes off, there's a little orange button, and you guys would have seen it. It's called snooze. And when you push that button, it gives you 10 minutes more or 9 minutes more sleep time. So the trigger would be alarm clock goes off, there's a sound, you hear it, trigger, you look at your phone, orange button. These are all triggers, you're taking them in. I know that if I push the snooze button, I can sleep a little bit longer. So I push the snooze button. That's the action. 10 minutes later, alarm goes off again. Another snooze button. I click it again, sleep for another 10 minutes. When I look again, it's too late to go to the gym. It's too late to get up and go and exercise. So the reward then is that I keep on being unhealthy. I don't get to go and exercise. So if I'm wanting to change the reward, I'm going to have to go back and change the action. But it's not that easy to change the action. You can say to yourself every night, I'm not going to push that snooze button tomorrow. I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to go to gym. But when the alarm clock goes off and you see that orange button, you push the snooze button. That's just the way it is. And the rewards just stay the same. So let's see how we're going to manipulate the trigger. So now what I do is I know what the trigger is. So I manipulate the trigger. I go to bed, but before I go to bed, I take my phone and I don't put it next to my bed. I put it in the faraway corner of the room. And next to my phone, I pack my gym gear. I pack my clothes and my sneakers, my tackies, they're there waiting for me. And then I get into bed and go to sleep. Now, when the alarm clock goes off, there's a trigger, the alarm clock. Reach over, and the phone's not next to my bed. I have to actually physically get out of bed, walk over to the phone. I pick it up, same snooze button's there, but now my gym gear is right next to the phone. And so there's now a different trigger. Here's my gym gear. I can get up. I don't feel like pushing the snooze button, then going back to bed. So I've manipulated the trigger. There's a different action and a different reward. I get dressed, I go to gym, I come home, and I feel healthier. I've manipulated the trigger. Can you see, guys, how practical this is? So the keys to lasting change is really to be able to identify wrong belief systems and those triggers, because remember, the triggers cross-referenced with your whole belief system cause the thoughts to come into your mind that drive the emotions, that drive the action, that produce the results. So I hope you find this useful. I hope you go and start identifying some of the triggers and then manipulate them, change them, like create new triggers for yourself. There's powerful ways of creating new triggers. Let me leave you with this thought for today. You cannot have a different reward if you don't take different actions. If you're not happy with the current reward or the current results in your life, they're not going to change if you don't go back, change the actions, driving it all the way back to your belief system and manipulating the triggers.